So, welcome everyone. Good evening to our Insight View series session. We have Neetu Bansal from Ipsos to deliver a very inspiring and educative session. And we were just catching up. They have offices all across India and doing some work across categories. And they're not just an advertising agency, it's a lot more from product development to using science to analyze creatives that come out of it. So I'm also very curious to listen to Neetu as much as you are. I'm very happy to see many of our regulars who passionately are, constantly following our Insight View series sessions. Many of you are in this call today. Happy to also see our Government Arts College Trichy students, Uni ma'am, and the rest of our members and non-members. Welcome to the Insight View series session. We try to bring this session, fortnightly for you. Like many other activities that we conduct on behalf of the club, it is to bring the community together and, in fact, provide value and knowledge back to you all. We have three pillars from the Advertising Club of Madras, which is inspire, educate, and engage. And based on these three pillars, we come up with multiple IPs and activities for all of you. We just finished a very successful brand and brew session last evening in Chennai, which is a quiz on advertising and marketing. And they were roughly about 40, 50 people with prizes over 10,000 rupees that was won by multiple teams. And it was a fun evening for networking and catching up with everybody. Our next big activity is Maddie's 2026, which is going to be held in July. And we are going to start announcing early bird entries from the end of next week. So stay tuned, and a lot more exciting activities coming your way, for your development and skill upgradation. Right. So let me, without taking too much time, let me quickly introduce Neetu to all of you. Just give me a minute. Yes. Neetu Bansal is a distinguished senior client director at Ipsos, known for her profound expertise and over 2 decades of experience in the field of market research. Her career is marked by her ability to decode complex business challenges through a deep understanding of consumer insights, having significantly impacted sectors ranging from FMCG to auto. Having honed her skills at Millward Brown, now part of the Kantar Group, Neetu has collaborated with industry leaders on innovation, brand and communication, media, and advertising strategies. At Ipsos, she leads the Creative Excellence practice for India, spanning the North and South regions. In this role, she delivers exceptional insights that aid businesses in navigating the communication development journey, ultimately enhancing brand impact post launch. Neetu represents a team of communication experts at Ipsos who successfully blend art and science to achieve business goals via creative solutions. Ipsos stands as the global leader in managing the entire creative development process, from exploring initial insights to assessing campaign impacts in market. As the president of the Advertising Club of Madras, I cordially invite you to the Insight View series, Neetu, and thanks again for your time.
Thanks for the intro, and thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to be sharing what I've garnered in the last 20 years. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
All right, so should we start? I'll start sharing my content.
Please do.
Just give me a minute. I'll upload.
Yes. And while Neetu's doing this, to all of you in the room, feel free to start writing your questions in between the session on the chat window, and we will collect them together during the Q&A, and Uma will moderate the Q&A session for all of you. Yeah. So pay attention and have a great evening.
Okay. Uh, I'm assuming you can see the slides and can hear me.
It's loud. Yes, all clear.
All right, let's talk about how research, I represent a research company, how research can help in advertising unlocking its full potential. How can we support advertising do the task that it's supposed to do? So, as a part of the session today, I'll be talking in the next 45 minutes around two topics. I'll touch on the larger part of my presentation will be around how research supports the entire creative journey and how can we fuel creativity ultimately to fuel brand growth. All advertising is paid, you're there for a purpose. How do we achieve the purpose that advertising is being made for? That is about brand growth. How can research support that? And the second topic, which is a hot topic these days, we're seeing AI disrupt industries across. It is also disrupting the advertising agencies and the advertising process. We'll talk about we'll touch on the topic of AI in advertising and where there's a blend needed. So that's largely what I have for you in store today. Let's start with the first. Before I get into the details of the research and the creative journey, let me talk a bit about Ipsos, the brand that I represent. We are leaders in market research across the world, present in about 90 countries, work for 5,000 plus clients across industries, and we're in the business of delivering reliable information which helps marketeers, which helps businesses understand the society, market, and the people in general. So that's how we support marketeers with research. Talking a bit about creative practice at Ipsos. The creative excellence practice at Ipsos is 50 plus years old. We've been doing creative research now for 50 years. And the mission with which we do creative research is how do we help the advertisers raise the bar and make effective advertising? At the end of the day, whatever advertising is being created, it should serve the purpose and impact brands, lead to effectiveness in the market. Therefore, helping our clients make great advertising. That's the mission that we follow in the creative excellence service line. Jumping now on to the research in the creative journey process and how we do that. Let's start with where we stand today as what's the reality and the context in which advertising is being fed, is being made. What's the consumer reality? I'll start with the consumer picture today and where do consumers stand for? What's the environment like? Today's reality overall, we know we're surrounded by a lot of content. Consumers are more and more connected. They're connected across devices. There are multiple screens that they're watching at the same time. Mobile is an extended part of our arm. It's almost become a part of our bodies. There are multiple apps, multiple windows open at any given point in time. And consumers are largely living a very distracted life. Uh, your attention, it's very difficult to focus on anything. And that's what our consumers today are living through in their daily lives. And in this distracted environment, getting their attention for any brand through the ads, through the content that we're putting through any of the channels, be it social, TV, digital, print, anything that we're putting through, it's getting very, very difficult for any brand to get attention. It's table stakes today to be able to break the clutter and get attention from the consumer. And that's what advertising first needs to do. The first barrier that it needs to cross, the first hurdle that any advertising needs to cross is catch the consumer's attention, grab his attention, and get noticed. Post that only does the job of communicating the message or changing driving choice intent, changing their consumer behavior is going to take place. The first attention becomes the first point becomes garnering attention. So brand communication today does face a lot of hurdle. Getting through the clutter is not easy, but that's where the role of creativity comes. Great creatives, if we make great creatives, that's what can break the mold of distraction, can catch the consumer attention. So it's a basic necessity to get creativity right, to get a great creative and do that. And we can help that with research based evidence, with consumer insights along the journey. So, research can help accelerate creativity. It can help make great creatives. Insights can become a part of the journey of the creative process from the start to the end. That's where through the advertising development process, and I'll talk about the journey as we move along. Insights can help support all of that, uh, and can help enhance the potential of the creative as we walk through. Let's understand that. How do we do that at Ipsos? We have having analyzed creatives across 50 plus years, across 90 plus countries, across a database of maybe 50,000 plus ads. What we do understand is creativity uh, is something that is needed. It is basic, and misfits. If you don't conform to standards and category codes, if you can stand out and catch attention, that's what can drive attention for you. We have put in a framework on how great creatives achieve that and lead to brand success. That's something that I'll talk about in the coming slides. But creativity in the process do can help drive brand success, and that's what all businesses want. When they spend money in the process of creating advertising, at the end the brand should get more sales, should get more share, should lead to success in that way. Yeah, let's understand how this Misfits creativity looks like and what are the kind of things. I'll explain this in more detail as we go through. Let's understand the process. The first part on how the journey looks through is about the creative experiences. As the consumer sees the creative, does the creative have the potential to stand out and build memory structures? Will the creative leave some memories about the brand in the consumer's mind? That's the first thing that a creative should land in terms of experiences. So, what are the experiences the consumer is going through, and does it leave a few memories in the consumer's mind about the creative? Will people talk about it? Is it entertaining? Does it catch the consumer's attention? Is it unique? Is it stirring some emotions? Is it connecting with the consumer? Is it resonating with them in a certain aspect? That's what we measure. The second thing, does it help the creative understand and empathize with the consumer? Does the consumer see the creative and see that this is a brand which relates to me? It is for people like me. I can understand what the brand says. Does it recognize the context that the consumer lives in? So does it address the consumer's context and his or her reality? That's what empathy and fitting in is what we measure again in terms of making creativity a great creativity look. And the end part is, how does it shape people's expectations? What do consumers take out of it? Does it inform the consumer? Does it tell the consumer something new about the brand? Does it shape some unique memories about the brand? So great creatives take all of this into account, and that's what a great creativity, how we measure and help advertising in figuring out whether consumers connect with the advertising or not. But having said that, this looks theoretical. In the process of making a creativity, let's see how the journey looks like. How do you get there in the process? The end creative is an end output, but there are a lot of pre-steps which go into it. Let's see how this creativity mindset of standing out can be taken progressed with, and how can you live through the process. So let me show you the way and take you along with me. uh, this is a typical creative journey that any agency which is creating the communication goes through. It starts with a client briefing the agency on the key messages that they want to communicate about the brand, the target audience that the creative is for, who do they want to impact, what kind of brand territories does the brand want to occupy. So there is this creative brief and the com strategy where the territory is being decided. What does the brand want to stand for? What are the kind of messages I want to land? Who do I want to impact? That starts the journey of a creative communication. Doing that feeds into the big ideas that the partner comes up with, the creative leads at the agency comes up with. It can feed into how agency and clients come up with big idea. What is the big idea I want to communicate about the brand? What's the idea I want to take forward? What is the consumer insight or the consumer truth or the tension, consumer tension, which I want to play on? The idea then feeds into some of the creative roots and stories which unfold, and the scripts and the narratics, and the various ways in which the story is brought to life or the idea is brought to life. And that's where we start to see creative roots in different forms and stories coming in, leads to the final process where production starts happening and you're coming up with final assets which need to be aired. Stories are brought to life after through production or before they are aired, in terms of assets and creative executions that need to be there. This is a typical journey that goes on when advertising is being created, from a client brief to putting an ad on air, the typical steps that we are following. Now, creativity and research actually can help through these stages. Let's see and walk through the journey of one of the creatives in this, and how research can support in there. So, a typical journey where the brief comes in, the communication strategy gets decided, ideas come in, creative roots happen, the story happens. Let's just see how this journey unfolds. Ideas are easy, execution is hard, but that's true. Let me take one unrelated example here, not from an advertising world, but for something that we're all familiar with. It is a journey for all kind of creators, and creativity is not only for advertising. We've seen it for a lot of content that gets created. Let me take the examples of Star Wars. The creator of Star Wars, George Lucas, went through a creative journey in coming up with the edition. And what he went through is 4 years of research. Four different scripts, four different studios declined him, but it was a journey he walked through before he could come up with Star Wars. So creativity is a journey; it's a process. Through research, can be refined. And let me now talk about how legendary ads do it. I'm going to take an example here of one of the ads and walk through the process of how our research can support the journey, making the best and letting the magic happen. We'll pause a bit. Let me play this ad for you. A lot of you might have already seen this, but let's just go through the creative.
Papa, are you guys okay? झगड़ा हुआ है क्या?
हमेशा झगड़ा होता है। एक अजीब सा डिस्टेंस है। We have been growing apart for quite some time. It is like
It's like a silent separation.
I have been thinking. पता नहीं मैंने ऐसा क्या किया।
Papa, you know I love you both equally. May I say something? Mama has just been giving and giving for so long that I'm afraid maybe she's just given up.
I ended up taking your mom for granted. I am really sorry. अब समझ में आ रहा है कि अगर साथ रहना है तो साथ देना भी है. Can we start again? Please.
वैसे फिल्म कैसी रही?
किसने देखी?
This is one of the ads in the Share the Load series by Ariel, which I'm sure many of you might have come across. Uh, but let's hear and see how Josie Paul, who is the creator of this Share the Load campaign, what's the journey that he went through, and how did creativity spark? How did this whole thought of share so, talking about sorry, I skipped a few slides, but talking about about the journey of this great creative and share the load campaign, it all started with Josie questioning how he can, get to real insights, real consumer tensions, and he thought about starting with consumers. The starting point has to be understanding consumers, their context, their realities, and not working out from a room. So he started sitting out in coffee shops, talking to people, observing people, noticing people. There in his headquarters, he had this room where he would huddle with his team and see, what you know question his team, figuring out what consumers are talking about, what their real life tensions are. During this whole aspect, one of his team members, a young lady in the team, kind of told him that her biggest problem is that men in her family don't touch laundry, and that's where one of the biggest things came through, that men are not touching laundry in Indian homes. uh, it led to a research, some more fact finding started taking.
Joins the campaign that she was talking about, Share the Load by the agency BBDO India, and it was crafted by the adman Josie Paul. It's one of the best remarkable campaigns in terms of consumer transformation, particularly in the laundry brands. So that was one of the best. It all started off with Share the Load, where the men in the family has been um, encouraged to share the load with the female who are always been forced to take care of the household chores on a day-to-day basis. So, in fact, Ariel brand equity went up many-fold up because of this Share the Load campaign, where year after year they have been bringing in. First, it was like the husbands supporting the spouse, and later on, fathers supporting the daughters, and then it went on further to recommend sons supporting the family. So one film, in fact, used to project that all household related chores were always being dumped on the female child of the family. And first time the campaign focused on why can't you teach your sons also to do the laundry. So that was a one remarkable campaign. From there on, it goes on year on year. It is touching upon every social sphere, and till now it is happening at a year on year basis. It's doing wonders for Ariel, the brand. It went on to win many accolades, can, and so many great awards. So I think Neetu is back, so it's time for her to take over. uh, Neetu, are you there?
Sorry. Yeah, you can hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can. Just I went on to brief
All
to the
right.
list.
Sorry for the disruption.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to engage them,
So
I just
yeah, I'm
giving them.
talking.
Yeah, please proceed. Please proceed.
Absolutely, you're right. The campaign has gone on for many years and in different
Yes,
avatars. So yes, it
yes,
started with teaching boys to do and pick up some things, but it goes on till the
yes.
seniors, and that's the ad that I showed, where the senior
Yeah.
in the house is being asked to share the load. But yeah, in terms of the journey and the research that supported the journey, research did figure out the fact that it's true that men in Indian household are not contributing to doing any household chores, and it's the women who pull off 5 hours of daily household chores. The insight that came out was that women don't want whiter whites. So it shouldn't be about the product. It shouldn't be about, you know, often laundry detergents in the past in the advertising have focused on giving a whiter, better shine, the end product being uh, a clearly washed thing. But when women were spoken to, they actually wanted a helping hand, and that's where the entire tagline and the whole thing around share the load, that campaign, the thought was envisaged, the big idea around where the tension lies in the house with the woman who's doing laundry, figure out what product to bring in the house, what brand to bring in the house. So that's a bit about Share the Load. It's been a long running campaign. Omna did talk to you about how, you know, there have been various creatives in the entire process. And the latest one, the ones that I just showed you, is where they figured out while there was an actual behavior change and men started contributing in household things. It's the older generation which still needed some convincing and contributing to things in the house, and that's where the campaign did try to do a social messaging as well, apart from staying true to the insight that they were going through. In terms of when we did the measurement or the test around how the creative will perform with consumers, so we have a solution where we help brands and marketers assess their creatives before being aired, the potential of the creatives on how strong it will resonate with consumers. We did see it as one of the best performing campaigns in our kitty in India. It was among the top 10% ads or the most effective ads that we've tested in India. And it did create a very believable story, told people something new about the brand, and it stirred emotions at a certain level, leading it to being very, very effective for the brand. And the results are something that we know. Ariel did gain a lot out of this campaign. So creativity is a journey with research at different points and through the journey. The right insights at the right time can help you can help marketers take the right decisions to move along the journey. It's a process which nobody needs to do in isolation. Uh, One of the things that we've seen is we did a meta analysis and we figured out if campaigns went on without research, without any early research, versus campaigns which went with an early research, the ability of the ads to perform better, to create an effective, to be effective for the brand and to make a difference in brand growth, there is a 48% improvement. So there is proof to also say that research through the journey and through the early stages can fuel creativity and help in producing better creatives or more effective creatives which work for the brand. Uh, how do we do this and how do we make this possible? Let's talk about that a bit. Through the process, I talked about how we start with a client creative brief or a territory. There are different things that we can focus on in creativity. I did talk about, the three pillars of great creatives: empathy, whether you have what are the creative ideas you're communicating, and what are the kind of experiences the consumer is going through while watching the ad. So, starting with the territory or the big idea or the big brief, the tension that you are trying to communicate, that tension at that stage where you are at an idea stage, it's important to start from empathy. The idea should be something that the consumer starts resonating with and feels that it, it, it is something that he can link up with. When we move to the creative route, which is where the idea turns into stories or things that we want to communicate, it should communicate something about the brand which is different. It should make the brand stand out in a new light. And as we move to the production stage, as we take the story forward and move to final experiences with final assets, that's where when you see the creative, it should give a unique experience, a good watching experience to the consumer. there the final things like music, idea, etc. start to stand out. So, talking about the idea stage, just deliberating on this point a bit more. When we start with idea, we need to think of empathy and whether the big idea or the key insight that we are focusing on developing further and nurturing further into creatives, is that something that people can resonate with? Is it something that people feel good about or not? And is it telling them something new? Ideas which are likely to do that, ideas which can relate to people, are more likely to drive brand choice. So they have a finer impact in terms of effectiveness. They help to drive brand choice in the right direction. As we move along the journey and move into creative roots, an idea which grows into a creative root, it becomes important to make a difference and make the brand stand out. And here again, we see that for creative roots, where which are able to do that, stories which make the brand stand out in a different light, there is a chance that 84% it'll help retain the brand. It'll help to drive brand relationship that the ad has, so that the consumers have with the brand. And unique stories do give a good attention potential to the consumer. So they help to break the clutter and they help to drive attention in a distracted environment that they are today living. So, uh, and the final assets, which tend to be the final experience that you're landing with, where you can surprise them, use emotions, give information, all of that is where creative experiences start to matter the most. And therefore, it should be about landing or stirring emotions to a way or surprising them with something new. And that's why we call it a misfits framework. Don't conform to norms. Don't conform to norms. Surprise the consumer, catch his attention, tell something about the brand which is unique, and make them shift their choice intent. That's what great advertising does. Just to sum up. So it is a journey. Creativity is a journey. While it starts with inspiration, it doesn't end with inspiration. The process just has 1% inspiration. 99% is about the hard work and the toil that goes through in the process, starting from coming up with an idea to kind of producing the final film. And a lot of it is about collaboration. And research per se can help bridge the gap between the different stakeholders. I just say that there is a consumer sitting whom you want to impact, who you want to purchase your product. You're trying to communicate something about the brand. Research can bridge the gap between the consumer and the brand. What the brand is trying to communicate, how should it communicate, what does the consumer care about? Research helps bridge that gap through the insights that we bring to the fold. And across the process, I'm not going to talk about our solutions, but throughout the creative journey, research supports the advertising agency, the clients, the marketeers through this advertising journey. It starts with inspirational themes to inspire, to figure out what is the big idea that we want to communicate, and that's where inspiration starts. We can explore the big idea, figure out across different routes what works, what doesn't work, explore the routes further. If you have multiple storyboards, multiple stories to be communicated, there's a screening process available to see which of the stories work best and can be taken forward before producing, which ones of them hold potential. And at the production stage, before you air the final creatives and start kind of spending money on the creative, it's important to test whether it's landing on strategy or not, whether it is doing the job and consumers are taking out uh, taking out what we want them to take out. So that's where investing in the creative process works towards great advertising, and it can help uh, improve the chances of success, improve the potential of advertising. And just two data points here I want to highlight on. In case you don't have creativity, you don't have empathy, and the chance of making a difference in terms of performance and impacting the brand stands at a negative. The more the higher the creativity, the higher the empathy, the chances of success start to improve. So the delta is about 48% in terms of making using research in early stages of advertising as you develop through the journey versus if you don't use the same. Uh, I'm just figuring out how we're doing on time. Uh, this video I can actually skip.
Please
Oh,
proceed. Please proceed.
okay. I'll now touch on another aspect, which is AI, which is disrupting our worlds. It's disrupting all industries, including advertising and research. And the question which has been coming to us alone, and a lot of advertisers are facing it also, is can AI alone create effective advertising? And I'll talk about some of our experiences here as we're stepping into that world and working more and more. So when we talk to corporates, when we talk to communication leaders across in corporates, we do see everyone acknowledge and uh, admit to the fact that fundamentally AI is transforming the way businesses are working. At the same time, while it's disruptive, it's transforming, there is a lot of efficiencies which AI is bringing into the ecosystem. So there's lots and lots of money to be saved across the process. So somewhere marketers, everyone in across industries is toggling between how much of human and how much of AI to use. And let's see in the advertising world what our early findings say. I'll show you this ad. It's a US example for a very well known brand. Let's just see the ad and then let's describe it further. So this is a Christmas ad which was aired by Coca-Cola, and we also did a testing on this. And uh, while it if it would have been interactive, it would have been good to say. But there was a lot of controversy around this ad. There were a lot of polar thoughts around why Coke did this. Uh, it's an AI based creative, so there's no real production. It's all made through a machine, through AI, through prompts. And there was a lot of controversy around this ad. But when we tested this ad and we look at some of the scores that we usually use to see the potential of the creative effect potential is will the creative work in driving short-term sales for the brand? Will it be remembered for Coke? Will it lead to behavior change? And will it build long-term equity for the brand? On all these measures, the ad did well. So the AI-led ad, despite being AI-led, not having that production quality and not having true humans, some of the polar views were there, but that's what the score said, and the ad did well for Coke. But does it mean that machines can produce effective advertising? That's a question that we were all left with when we discuss with marketers. And I'm going to now show you another AI-led example. Now, this one is not made by the marketer. It's somebody who just gave a prompt, was interested in advertising, and tried to see if I were to create an ad for this brand Oreo, what it would look like. So let's just go through another example of an AI created ad.
What if the universe baked a cookie and sent it hurtling through the cosmos? What if that cookie turned into a symphony of shooting stars, lighting up our world? And what if those stars turned into your favorite treat, falling like sweet snowflakes? What if each bite could hold a universe of flavors? What if we told you this isn't just a dream?
So this is a user generated, AI generated ad which a user of you created. And let's see what kind of creative experience does it leave the consumers with. It is, of course, unique and surprising. Nothing like a cookie ad anybody would have ever seen for Oreo. So it does catch the consumer by consumer's attention and stands out. But at the same time, let's look at some of the empathy measures. It is unbelievable. It's something that people don't associate with, don't resonate with. It doesn't stand out with the codes that Oreo has established over the years. It doesn't tell something new about the brand. It's just cutting the clutter and making catching attention, but it doesn't do anything in terms of making fitting in with the way the brand communicates. And therefore, we did see that when we tested it, there is a lot of confusion it is leaving the consumers with. And in terms of its ability to do something for the brand, all of it is in the negative. So it doesn't really work. So not all AI led creatives will work. The ad, actually, a consumer verbatim there, the ad was ridiculous, dramatic, and overblown, and just not related to the product at all. It can be. And I'm going to the ketchup ad now, but just to sum up, hello, you can hear me?
Yes, we can. Earlier there was some crack. Now
All
it
right.
is fine. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Just to summarize, in terms of human versus AI intelligence, based on our experience, what we're really seeing is that uh, more human intervention is needed. AI can be lead to inspiration, but at the same time, human thinking is needed. It helps resonate. It helps bring relevance. Empathy is important. When we have more human, it's more original. We do need humans for original thinking and to impact choice. That's where the human intervention is important in advertising. But at the same time, AI can be an enabler. It can help develop impactful advertising. And a final take on that is that it's going to be a collaborative world. Ultimately, humans and AI have to come together, building in efficiency through AI, but effectiveness through the human intervention is where things are. And uh, human connection is what the consumer voice is what research brings to the table. So it's a journey. Creating great creatives is a journey, and in this journey of creative excellence, research can help uh, make you confident, take strong steps around that. Yeah. So sorry. So that's what I wanted to share today in terms of how research can help uh, in the creative process and help make great advertising.
Thank you, Neetu. That was an insightful session, and it was I mean, it truly helped us to understand a different dimension of the process of creating advertising and what are the pre production level of activities that's happening in. So I request people to share questions. There is one from Shruti Artirajan. You can see this question, or should I read it out, Neetu, in chats?
Let me just read it. Do you think product packaging can act as a small learning platform where people pick up basic emergency knowledge like CPR or low sugar response, or is that unrealistic from a consumer behavior perspective? Since packaging reaches people daily, can it be used as a micro learning tool for basic emergency awareness? And how would research test whether people actually absorb and remember that information? So you're talking about product packaging per se. Again, for a lot of brands and categories, not everybody has the money or the wherewithal, because brands are also in different stages of evolution, startups and all. When you're starting small, you might not have the money to advertise, but your packaging is what becomes a communication lever. So you're right when you say, Shruti, that brand and its packaging can also be a lever for communication and pick up knowledge around the brand. And therefore, when we at Ipsos, we also do a lot of packaging research, a lot of product research, apart from advertising research. When we are doing packaging research, one of the key things that we do focus on is the front sleeve. What is it that you're putting on the pack? What are the kind of messages, words that are being written? Zero sugar, protein percentage, meets X percentage of your dietary requirements, whatever it is, or no sulfate, no uh, paraben when it comes to hair care products. All of those kind of messaging are something that consumers take, not take. How do we capture whether consumers are reading that information and taking action basis that information? There are processes in research how we do it. Uh, at times we use eye tracking, facial coding. These are technical aspects where we try to see where the eye gaze happens and whether it leads to impact at the shelf level, whether it helps the consumer pick that product while shopping on the shelf. So there are various tools and techniques which we use to figure this out. Yeah. There's another question. Compared to other detergent brands, Ariel is priced higher. So I'm assuming the brand has urban higher income groups as target consumers. So for research, respondents also belong to the same demographic profile. Could you please give insights about the data collection methods? Let me break this question into two parts. One on the TG. Uh, in terms of assumption, yes, Ariel plays on the upper end of the economic bracket. So, in terms of uh, if I were to divide India into three cohorts, it will still talk to the upper socio-economic classes in terms of research, and that's the part in terms of the target consumer. But that is something that is usually discussed at the briefing stage with the client team, the brand team, on who are they targeting through their advertising, and who should we do the research among. Usually, research is done among the consumption group or whoever they're wanting to target in the research thing. So, yes, research does target that, it's possible. In terms of data collection methods, there are a lot of methods which we deploy for research purposes, from interviewer assisted techniques. When we are talking to mass India, when we are talking to the lower socioeconomic profiles, there's a lot of India which is not on internet, might not know how to read and take surveys online. So we use a interviewer assisted approach where interviewers go and connect with them face to face. And there are other ways where online survey links are sent, There is a phone call route, CATI is done, links are sent to consumers on internet. You can take the research online, self-administered interviews, we call them. So there are various ways and mechanics through which we do research. We also sometimes call them to a central location. So we book a hotel, we book a conference room, we show the creatives there. There are people who take the survey there on their laptops or through interviewers. So data collection methods can vary depending on the purpose of the research and who we are interviewing. How difficult is it to get the time of the respondent? When we're doing businessman interview or CXO interviews, at times we just do with phone calls or sending links on phones also. Yeah,
So, Neetu, I wanted to ask one question. So,
yeah.
we have seen in the process of, advertising, creating advertising. You have quoted that empathy is an important factor that drives the affection towards the brand. So we have witnessed transformation of the advertising from the print era to the television era and now to the digital era. So, what is it in digital era which is driving when you compared with the print television? How the affection or the stickiness has transformed over mediums during these eras?
It's a good question. Difficult to answer in a short span of time, but I'll just say that from linear TV, from print to linear TV to the digital era, different mediums are working very, very differently. So within digital also, when we see and we do test advertising by different platforms, because the context of the medium plays a different role. When we do advertising on YouTube or in Instagram, we do see at times uh, people are watching ads, especially Facebook and Instagram, not YouTube so much, but Facebook and Instagram. A lot of people are doing scrolling through their Facebook feeds or Instagram feeds on mute, so audio is not playing a role. So one of the ways that advertising has evolved, especially for Instagram or Facebook, is you have non-audio ads a lot more, which can communicate the same thing. So you will have things written and do that. So that's something that we see for YouTube. In fact, we've seen two very different trends because there is that option of skipping after 3 seconds or 5 seconds. It's important for the adverts to retain the consumer and make them watch the entire thing. So creating a hook and making sure that the consumer stays on for the entire duration of the ad in YouTube, that's something, or introducing the brand early have been some of the learnings that we've had. So different mediums working very, very differently. TikTok, when it was there before it was banned in India, we saw it work very differently. So now the learnings, the way research learnings are evolving, are a lot more by the kind of media within the digital. What kind of media are we placing the ad in? And sometimes we need to tailor our creatives to ensure that we are optimizing for that media.
Great. And Purani had raised another question. If you can have a look at it.
Brand recall surveys pop up while using social media. How are the results consolidated? Could you explain the technicality involved? You're right, brand recall surveys do pop up. Usually, when you see a brand recall survey pop up, Purni, it's about somewhere you would have been exposed to uh, any communication by the brand. So when these surveys pop up, they're usually brand lift studies. We call them brand lift studies, which is a test and control on the delta that you have for the brand because you've seen some communication from the brand. So the brand has spent money on the social media to communicate something about the brand and garner your attention. They want you to they want the consumer to be reminded about the brand or to communicate a message about the brand and to influence your purchase behavior at the end of the day. So as marketers, they also need to need to see whether the creative or the money that they've spent on social media, is it working for them or not. What they do is a control group, people who've not been exposed to advertising versus people who've been exposed to advertising. What is the difference in scores, in brand recall, in brand awareness, brand consideration, brand purchase? What are the kind of deltas that are coming there? That's usually how and why you see these surveys pop up. Somebody is trying to measure the impact that they've created for the brand through the advertising spends.
One layman question: what is your advice for the aspiring graduates who are planning to take research as an career option, and how to get into it?
Well, for aspiring aspirants of research, my only advice is stay curious. Look around, notice and observe things. The more you observe around it, it's all consumer behavior at the end of the day. A researcher is just trying to see the signals that consumers are giving and trying to make it work for brands. So being curious, observant, is the trait that you should be working on.
Right. How to get into it, and which route? I mean, particularly any course or anything which drives them towards research as an option.
So usually research, if you want to be a researcher, the usual route is through an MBA, and marketing as a course, where market research is also a course, is one of the subjects that's usually there in MBA when you're doing marketing. And a lot of research profile is all about taking in MBAs from institutes. So that's the career course line that can be taken. Uh, in in parallel, there's also, if you have direct exposure to advertising or marketing, that can also be taken into consideration. Yeah.
Okay, I think with that the questions are done. Anyone else would like to ask a question? You can raise. Okay, so I think that's okay. So I take the liberty to share the vote of thanks. Myself, Umanath, I am the managing editor for Media News for You and the vice president of Advertising Club Madras. And I thank Neetu Bansal for another wonderful session in this Insight View webinar series. And again, through this Insight View series, we have been bringing in versatile personalities from various industry. And today, through Neetu, we have presented the process of, I mean, engaging research in the process of creating advertising campaigns. So she has, for the first time, took us through the behind the scene, how the process is happening. There is someone has asked a question which we can, how do you scientifically measure emotional impact in advertising? Shruti Artirajan has raised this. We have time, so if you want, Neetu, you can go ahead. If you have time, I'll hold back my.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll take this last
yeah,
question
yeah.
because I have a cutoff at
Okay.
5:15. But Shruti, how we do how do we capture emotions in research in advertising? We've got something called facial coding. So for video ads, the webcam on your computer, it can capture, as you watch advertising, the expressions that are happening on the face. It's a very spontaneous response. Our body reactions are usually not controlled. So when people watch advertising, they go through a series of emotions. And for one of the recent ads that we were testing, there was a lot of confusion happening. There was a lot of surprise happening at the initial bits. But as the story resolved and they started figuring out what's happening, there were happy peaks. So we divide the facial expressions can be divided into emotions: happy, sad, surprise. If your eyebrows are, coming together, you're trying to figure out, there's a lot of cognitive load. If you have a smile on your face, that means you're enjoying it. If you're leaning in and deeply engrossed, you're trying to figure the creative out. So there's a lot of scientific measurement which goes behind how to interpret facial expressions. And for video ads, we have a second by second thing around what's the emotion the consumer is going through, which also helps us actually help marketers create edits. So usually a marketer will create a longer edit, a 40-seconder, 50-seconder in the beginning. And as they proceed in terms of airing, it gets cut down to a 20-seconder or 15-seconder. These facial expressions and facial coding is what we call it, helps us to also cut down and suggest what are the edits you should do to the films as we proceed. So yeah.
She asked a quality-based research method. Is it okay? Backup question from follow-up. It seems
It's not a quality based, it's all measurement, it's pure measurement. So your facial expressions are being recorded and we get a percentage across how many people were happy, how many people were sad, how many were surprised. So it's completely a measurement based technique.
okay. All right. So I will continue the vote of thanks now, and thank you so much, Neetu, for this wonderful session. You took us through how research can support the advertising that translate into brand growth. So in this process, you just took us through the creative journey and the process of the latest one, AI's impact in advertising, and how AI has got into it, and what is the industry's opinion about in terms of the human intervention, which this is the machine's work actually. So this is a larger debate that's been happening so far, and good that we also have touched upon, and good to understand from you that campaigns with early research gives 48% improvement. That's the kind of impact what research can do to your ad film making process or an ad campaign creation process. So instead of jumping blindly with a self-analyzed process, it clearly shows that research plays a pivotal role in terms of making a campaign, ad campaign, successful. And you also took us through how a low empathy will result in a lower impact of the campaign with 23% negative. At the same time, with a higher impact, higher empathy will gain you a 20% higher impact. So these are some of the takeaways that we are able to understand. And the wonderful thing that you have spoke about, share the load, done by BBDO India, one of the best campaigns, which award-winning campaigns of India, which has
Absolutely.
transformed Indian men today. As a personally, I can say that after seeing that film, it was a thought-provoking moment for me. I also started lifting myself to support without any hesitation. That transformed me. That campaign film, one after the other. Initially, as a man, I transformed myself to come forward in supporting the household chores. Later on, when the campaign of sons support, sons share the load, I also thought of thinking, putting into my son's mind that he also should start supporting the household. You are not something special. It's not about, fortunately, I have a male and a female child. So I was able to create a balance between them. It's
Good
my,
to hear. Very
yeah.
good to hear.
So that's the kind of impact. So someone who is closely attached to advertising industry, I could see the transformation in my own life, and These are some of the best examples of research-based outcomes which can touch upon the human lives. And we all are proud that we are into the industry where we are touching the lives, I mean, transforming the human consumption pattern, and all for the good cause. So, thank you very much. It is a great pleasure on behalf of myself and the Advertising Club Madras having you on this wonderful session, 35th edition of the Insight View series. And we're looking forward to engaging you in another forum conducted by the Madras Advertising Club. Thank you, participants. Hope you all had wonderful and loads of takeaway from this. We look forward to bringing you another engaging session in another fortnight's time with another industry expert. Thanks to Ipsos, thanks to the Vaishnavi and others from the Secretariat of the Advertising Club Madras for dedicating yourself, taking efforts to reach out and putting things together. Thanks to Presto for the designs that you have extended, creative designs that you have extended. The sponsors, Dinamalar and Peps Mattresses, who have been associated with our many other initiatives of the Ad Club Madras, and myself, Umarnath from Media News for You. Thanking you all, signing off, looking forward to engaging with you in another wonderful session. Once again, thank you, Neetu Bansal and
Thank you. It was my
Madhumita
pleasure.
from Ipsos for coordinating this. Okay, looking forward. Thanks again, signing off.
Thank you. Bye.
You.